Okay, we have a call to order for our second budget meeting. We have a roll call.
Yes, Commissioner Joseph,
Here.
Commissioner Lama,
Here.
Commissioner Stuyvesant,
Here.
Vice Mayor Viscara,
Here.
Mayor Goldman,
Here.
all members present, ma'am.
Okay, our first item on this budget agenda is this public hearing on the proposed millage rate and tentative budget.
Yes, so item 2A is a resolution adopting the City of Sunny Isles Beach ad valorem tax millage levy rate at 2.0000 mils per $1,000 of taxable assessed value, which is 4.50% less than the rollback rate of 1.9139 mils for fiscal year 2022-2023, providing for an effective date.
Isn't it more?
Tiffany, did I read it correctly? It's 2 mils was what was discussed at the first budget meeting.
Yeah. The rollback rate is 1.9139.
Oh, yes, I apologize. I read it wrong. It's 4.50% more than the rollback rate. More, yes.
Okay, we're lowering the millage rate. Pretty self-evident. Do we have no public speakers or any
Not
comments?
for the resolution, no, ma'am.
Okay, we've already discussed this. If we have any other discussion items from the dais? That being said, if we can take a motion, can I have a motion?
Second.
Second. So Commissioner Stuyvesant seconds, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving along. Budget ordinance.
2B is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, adopting an operating and capital improvement budget for fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2023, pursuant to Section 200.65 of the Florida statutes, authorizing expenditures of funds established by the budget, authorizing encumbrances, authorizing issuance of checks, providing for grants and gifts, providing for local and federal law enforcement trust funds, providing for post-audit, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. And this is second and final hearing.
Okay, unless you have any comments?
Oh,
Go ahead.
Mayor, I was just going to say, this is the second reading of our 2022-2023 fiscal year budget. As I mentioned at our last meeting, this budget has been created with input from you, members of our public, and our staff. Financially, I believe the city's in the best position that it's ever been in. We have the lowest millage rate ever in the history of the city, and we have once again lowered taxes. This budget is only 4% more than last year's budget. City has healthy reserves of upwards to $80 million, with $10 million set aside for hurricane preparedness.
Microphone.
You're not being heard very well, Stan.
And with that, I present to you
There you go.
the second reading of our 2022-2023 budget.
Thank you. We have two public speakers for this item. Is this it said agenda item 2B, but I have 3B on here in
No,
the
it's
prior.
2B.
It's 2B on this one?
Yes,
Okay.
it's to be the budget.
We have two public speakers on the budget. Anybody want to come up?
The name?
Larissa
Larissa
Svetchin
Svetchin.
and Stephanie Henry.
Okay.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, Commission.
Can you state your name and address for the record,
Of
please?
course. Former Mayor Larissa Svetchin, 19140 Atlantic Boulevard, Sunny Isles Beach, 33160. As you all know, this is probably the most important item that you're voting on for the year and probably the most important meeting of the year. But I will make it quick because I know I only have 3 minutes. I have reached out to most of you to talk about this budget. I've had an opportunity to speak to Commissioner Lama. I thank you, Commissioner Lama. I urge you to review it one more time. If you look at the operating costs and the personnel costs, they're increasing significantly. The personnel costs are increasing 65% over 2 years ago, and operating are increasing by, well, actually, no, that's the opposite. It's 25% and 65%. So while it does look like potentially it's only a 4% increase, you're not really comparing apples to apples. And, you know, you are responsible for this money. Most of you have discussed this in the past with me, so I know that you care about this very much. So I urge you to take one more look at it and really see, do we really need to increase this, or could we find a way to minimize and make our government a little bit smaller, a little bit more efficient? Thank you.
Thank you. Stephanie Henry? Can you state your name and address for the record?
Yes. Good evening. My name is Stephanie Henry, 16950 North Bay Road, apartment 2502, Sunny Isles Beach, Florida. I just have a small question concerning the budget. And looking it over, I see that we have $60 million in the reserve fund. My question is, are we using any of that to pay down our current debt? If we are, or if we're not, when we will be? That is my question. Thank you.
Thank you. We have no more public speakers? Okay. Do you want a discussion from any of Commissioner Joseph, Commissioner Lama? Anybody want to
I
speak?
believe that with inflation being what it is, that we've done quite well in holding down our costs. And I believe that this budget is pretty much in line as it should be.
Thank you. Commissioner Lama?
Yes, I agree. We went through a lot of iterations of this budget with public input, and I think I'm happy with the budget the way it stands. Obviously, there's inflation, there's other things that need to be kind of stipulated within the budget, and we need to be operating at a service level that is decent, or is more than decent, so I agree with this budget. And then regarding the reserves, I, for one, I'm of the philosophy that we should keep our cash, especially in the times that we are going through. So then we could decide what we do with the cash. But at this point, with the situation being the way it is, you keep the cash for any emergency.
Commissioner Stuyvesant?
Yeah, it was a long process. It's my first time working with the staff in the budget. I have very intense meetings, and I am satisfied with the way with our budget right now. There is changes that are going to be coming, especially with personnel. So the amount of people that is there to hire, that doesn't mean that we are going to be able to hire all the people. So that is a total amount item. That, again, doesn't mean that we are going to be able to hire all the people and spend all the money. So, but in order to be able to hire the people that we need to operate in more than a decent, perfect level, we need this budget. So I'm satisfied with the process, and I approve. I'm okay with the budget.
Vice Mayor?
I have to echo my colleagues. I think it's been a very thorough process, and we have to consider. I mean, when we had our workshops and our meetings here that I assume some of you watched or attended, we talked about certain expenses like gasoline, like providing gasoline for all our buses and police vehicles. That cost went up by a lot. I don't remember the number right now, but it was something like 60% or 70%, or insurance goes up. So we have to be able to cover that, and at the same time, being fiscally responsible. So considering the inflation that we're all feeling, plus the cost of services that we have to continue to provide. We can't just not buy gas, for example. I think that this actually turned out very well. So I'm also very satisfied with the budget. And yes, there were increases in some areas, but that's because costs went up, and we have to adjust to that. So I'm very satisfied. And I thank the staff again for doing a good job.
Do you have additional comments? Commissioner Lama?
I'd like to add something regarding the debt. I mean, right now, we do have debt. I think, in my personal opinion, the rates are pretty decent. So if we, for some reason, have to go out and get another loan, the rates are much higher, so you need to get that into consideration as well. If we're looking at perhaps building a police department, and we need to get a loan for that, you know, the rate right now, the way the rates are gonna be much higher than the rates we have for the current debt. So that's my opinion.
I have very little to add other than fair wages for the worth that our entire staff and our entire personnel, fair wages for our personnel and for the level of services that they provide. And I have a debt of gratitude to all that our staff and our personnel does for the betterment of our city now and in the future. So this budget was absolutely a compromise. It was a lot of give and take. There was substantial public input, and there were changes, accommodations, concessions that were made along the way. I think we have a very fair and appropriate budget that, again, the half of the level of increase from prior years in which, you know, the budgets were 7, 8, 9% over the prior. So I think we've made tremendous strides in giving a very fair, honest, and equitable budget for all. So thank you so much to our finance department, to our department heads, to everyone who really labored over this and made it the product that it is that we can live by for this upcoming year. So with that being said, we have no further comments. I'd like to.
I just have one further comment regarding the debt. We actually have one loan that's retiring in 3 months, which takes it into next year's budget. But on 2 of the loans, we have rates that are actually offset by the interest that we're getting on our funds, and causes us to not be worried about carrying that debt. So in that regard, I think the city is fiscally sound, in good shape, and there is nothing wrong with a fiscally sound government or business carrying debt. And I agree with how we're handling it.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Joseph. Clearly, it's been a transparent, open process, one with a lot of give and take and a lot of discussion and input, and that's the way it should be. So again, thank you. And do we have a motion? So moved. Commissioner
Second.
Lama, second. Commissioner Joseph, roll call.
Commissioner Joseph,
Aye.
Commissioner Lama,
Yes.
Commissioner Stuyvesant,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Viscara,
Yes.
Mayor Goldman.
Yes.
The ordinance is adopted, and so is the budget.
Thank you. This, do we need a motion to adjourn this
Yes, please.
meeting?
Yes, please.
Motion?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.